Hi everybody, it's Lucero and today I'm going to be discussing the do's and don'ts of contouring. I find that I learn a lot by watching other people properly apply makeup, but I also learn a lot or more by noticing mistakes, and so that's what I aim to do with this video. So I'm going to show you one application where I make a bunch of mistakes and have I just a horrible contouring job, and then I'll show you a second clip where we discuss tips and also how to fix any previous mistakes or how to avoid them in general. So I really hope this is helpful, and let's get into it. Okay, so starting off with what not to do, the first thing you want to consider is your bronzer. This is Tahiti by Cargo, and it is wrong for me personally because one, it contains shimmer, and two, it's really brown and orangey. The second mistake that you can make is just applying it too heavily. I don't know if you could notice, but I did not tap off any of the excess powder. I just kind of slapped it on straight from the tin, so it's very difficult to fix too heavy contour once it's already applied to your face. And the second thing I'm doing is applying the powder in a like sideburn formation. It really just appears this way because it's too heavy. If your face is more long or skinny, this will actually make you look gaunt or kind of like a skeleton. My face is a little round, so you don't see as much of that. And again, I'm just applying it way too heavily. On the forehead, it actually starts to look a little muddy or like dirt, and not like natural contour or like a natural suntan. It just looks dirty, and that's also partly because of the bronzing color. Now with the nose, I'm actually applying it one, too heavily, and also too far apart on the side of the nose. You don't really want to apply it on the side, but rather like on top. And if it's too close together, like your two lines are a bit close together, it's actually easy to spread them apart with highlighter, but here I'm just applying it way too heavily. It kind of looks like my nose is bruised, or like I got a really bad nose job and it's, healing. Another thing is applying a highlighter that is too light or too heavy. This is the Dior Skin Concealer in Nude or Buff, I believe. And it's not a bad concealer, it's just not right for me anymore. It's way too light. And even if I wanted to use it still, I applied it too heavily and it's really hard to blend with fingers. Also, I mean, the formation really isn't bad, it's just too heavy and it's really caked on under the eyes. And as you'll see in a second, it's really caked on the nose. It just creates too much of a really stark contrast, and that isn't very natural looking. I mean, obviously it is contouring, but part of it is still wanting to look at least a little bit natural. And another mistake is applying it too dark, like in a restroom, because once you get into bright or natural lighting, you'll notice just how bad it is. So where to go from here? Well, to start off with, it really helps to choose a bronzer that's right for your skin tone. This is Hoola Bronzer by Benefit. I really love it, mostly because it's matte. There's no shimmer, there's no shine. If you're having trouble picking out a bronzer, what you can actually do is buy a concealer that's a few shades darker than your natural skin tone. This is the L'Oreal True Match, and I really like it. This is a helpful method if you're very pale or fair and you find that most bronzers are too orangey or just dark for you. So I'm applying it in a very similar formation that I did earlier. The only difference is that it's a little bit lighter. And if you have acne on your cheeks, this is actually a really great 2-in-1 product because it conceals, and you can also get a little bit of contouring done as well. I will say though that this concealer in particular is actually better for drier skin. I find that it's kind of oily and likes to move around a lot, so if you still want to use it, you can do what I'm doing here and just lightly set it with either powder or bronzer. I'm going to continue to use Hoola Bronzer for the rest of the contouring. And also, you want to make sure to bring it down your neck so that there isn't a huge contrast between your perfectly contoured face and then there's just your neck that's either too pale or just not the right color. So it's just easier and more natural looking if you blend it all together. And of course, go with a light hand because you can always add more if you feel like you need it. Now, moving on to highlighter, I'm going to be using the Match Perfection 2-in-1 Concealer. This is from Rimmel London, And I also really like this. Not that I didn't like the other product, it was just too light for me. This was a little bit closer to my natural skin color. Although as you can see, it is a little bit lighter. And what that does is it adds light and vibrancy, especially under the eyes, which is, for most people, we need, you know, a little bit of help under there. And I'm also not applying it too heavily. I really like the applicator that it comes with. It makes it really handy, and not too much product comes out. Now for the nose, like I said, I'm using a different bronzer. I'm using Hoola bronzer, and it's a lot nicer. And I'm also taking the two lines on top of the nose rather than on the side, and then from there you can blend down the side to create the shadow effect. And just like with all of the other bronzing and contouring going on, go with the light hand and then blend, 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 so that it just looks like shadow and not like obvious lines of strategic makeup on your face. So I'm going to blend it with the fingers and then apply a little bit of the same highlighter that I used under my eyes, just on the bridge of the nose, and blending it upwards towards the forehead. You can also apply a little bit to your brow bone and your cupid's bow. I already had makeup on, so that's why I skipped that step. Another thing that I didn't do with the fail is apply blush. Blush really adds a lot of color and life to the face, and even if it's not a lot of blush, just having a little bit really helps tie the look together. I also recommend taking pictures before you go anywhere. This really just helps you see how you look in natural light or how you look with flash. And it's a really great way to see how you'll come out in pictures. And it's a really great thing to do to make sure that you like how you've done your makeup. Okay, so I really hope you enjoyed. If you have comments or suggestions for future videos that you'd like to see from me, feel free to leave them in the comments. You can also reach me through any of my social media sites, and I'll have them listed in the description. I hope you have a lovely day, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!